So here it is, story time, part 5. This is going to be a full-on trigger warning, okay? This is going to involve mental health, psychiatry, hospitals, suicide, all of it. It's a trigger warning for right now, but it is part of the backstory so you could see the bigger picture. So the day that my father had a stroke, they called me immediately and they wanted me to come. And I was like, I can't. And I couldn't tell them why. See, nobody knew that we'd been trying for over a year to have a child after being married for 16 years. And I was slated the very next morning, okay? That would have been the day after my husband's birthday, the same day my father had a stroke. I was going to have an IUI inpatient. If you've ever gone through a fertility clinic, you know that your body is pumped worth of tens of thousands of drugs and shots and triggers and everything. There is no way that I could get to Michigan at that point, period. That caused some family drift, that caused some family drama, but I digress. Flash forward. My pregnancy was very uneventful. I didn't announce it till Christmas. I just didn't want to jinx it. And then March came. I wasn't feeling good. Lots of things were happening. I felt like there was too much fluid. I couldn't stop puking. They did everything that they could to just make me comfortable at that point because I was, pregnant. But alas, at 31 weeks, 5 days, they yanked my son, cesarean section, emergency, because they thought I was losing it. And for the next 79 days, I went through a haze of NICU and NICUitis and transfers and medical terminology and everything that as a new parent, as a first-time parent, I couldn't even handle it. But I never let up that I was anything but on it because I was so fucking tired and exhausted and draining. And then after 79 days, we finally got to go home. I was in Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, this is 36 hours before we're supposed to be discharged. It was a Thursday night, so we had to do the car seat test on Friday, make sure that was all good, and then Saturday morning we were finally going to get to go home. And while I was in the center aisle of Bed Bath & Beyond, when those were still a thing, getting new towels because I had been in the NICU so long, and I wanted fresh, soft towels. So I was just mindlessly shopping like they told you in the NICU, like, hey, get out, do the things you need to do because you're leaving in 36 hours. So this is exactly what I was doing. I was taking about an hour of self-care time because I was in the NICU 20-something hours a day unless I was sleeping. I needed that moment. And then my phone rang. Now, again, this is what? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. This is 10 months since my father's stroke. And he is the one who called me. And in the middle of Bed Bath & Beyond, he told me they found my brother. My brain glitched when he said that. And mind, he was talking with a stroke. So it was very literal. It was without emotion, but that's just a stroke thing. And it was hard to get out. What do you mean they found him? My brother struggled with mental health his entire life. He had tried previously to take his own life and was unsuccessful. This time, he was successful. That was the thing. They found him and then they put him on a ventilator so everybody could say goodbye. I want you to guess who fucked that up. The basement dweller. Because she was taking care of my dad, who was visibly upset that his son was going to be taken off of life support. So her thought process was to get my dad out of it. That's right. My sister was the one to pull the plug, and my dad was not there. There are many reasons why I find that so fucking disturbing. Number one, it was my father's only son, his firstborn child. And for the part y'all don't know, my father was the head psych charge nurse at the Kalamazoo Psychiatric Hospital. He was aware of mental health and what that brought. Yeah, some of those that he dealt with were fucking suicides. So the basement dweller, in her infinite wisdom, decided to fight with my sister who was trying to pull the plug on our brother and then took my dad home. I'll never even know if it was my dad who begged her to do it, which doesn't seem likely, or she convinced him to do it because she was taking care of him. Guess who also fucked up the funeral? If you said the basement dweller, you would be correct. Yeah. All that was left to my sister. My dad's like, I guess I'll write a check or something. But yeah, even the basement dweller didn't want anything to do with that. My brother had a lot of problems in his life, but he was my brother. See, he was raised by his great-grandparents along with my sister. They're Irish twins, okay? They're born like 18 months apart. They were raised by their great-grandparents until their great-grandparents died, and then they had to go into my father's care in late middle school. Yeah, I love my dad, but wow, holy airball. Never should have had kids. Never. Love you, Petty. R.I.P. Never should you have had children. In fact, you got fixed. You got snipped right after me. You hit perfection. This is where that elder abuse, I'm not all with my faculties, comes into play. My dad had seen death. My dad had dealt with mental illness with all of his patients over the course of about 30 years as being an RN. In fact, he was retired when this happened. My brother was no saint, but he was perpetually stuck at like 14 years old. And I don't blame him. You get abandoned by both parents, it kind of stings a little, and you kind of get stuck where you were. And when their great-grandfather first died, and then their great-grandmother died, and even though they had their issues too, they were still there for them until they died. So my brother, when he was transferred over to my father's care, after some conundrums along with my sister, and then that wife at that time with a different bonus sister, because like I said, my dad liked women, but they didn't like him for too long until they fucked it up. But they now lived with him. Sean had a lot of problems. Health, money, hygiene, trouble with the law. He had it all. But it was because he needed love and he needed support. And guess which basement dweller always made him feel like shit? You see, my brother was kind of transient. In my dad's house, not my dad's house. With a roommate, not with a roommate. Kind of back and forth. Never married, no kids, no girlfriend. Well, randomly, but not all the time. But guess who was fighting with my brother right before he took his own life? Because she accused him of stealing some of her shit out of the fucking basement because of who he hung out with. I'm not saying he didn't hang out with shady characters, but the basement dweller sure the fuck did as well. And while he wanted to live with my dad, that didn't look like that was going to be an option anymore because her grandson has had my father's address for about the past decade. And let me advise you, who is not a savory character of any means, but it was the basement dweller's grandson, one of 9. By one dad. So I'll let you deduce that shit out. Why I say her grandson is because that is also a very pivotal point when I talk about what they did to my father. So I couldn't say goodbye to my brother, took his own life. He caused drama at the hospital and didn't let my dad say goodbye. Caused drama around the funeral and didn't let my dad properly say goodbye. And he was a former head psych nurse. For the state hospital, motherfucker worked in prison. It seems like the basement dweller may have had some family members who had issues with prison. My father waited to tell me that my brother took his life until he actually met my son, and my sister and I were together. He read the report. He said that amount of medication in your system is intentional. He killed himself. And my father and I had a very long conversation about my life, and he apologized. And then he gave me like $500 in cash. That was the only time that my dad met my son, his only grandchild, his only. And while he got to celebrate my 39th birthday with me, this picture will always tear me up. Because the more I look at it, the more I see how sick he was, but that he got to hold his grandson. I look at how absolutely jaundiced he was, and he would not do dialysis. This is the last picture I ever took of my father. Smoking a cigarette, waiting in the parking lot, waiting to go to the airport, saying goodbye to everybody. This is why I do what I'm doing. Because my dad deserves so much more than he got. And I was so wrapped up with my new special needs child, I just didn't see it. I wish I could have been there, but I couldn't. This picture will forever make me cry and haunt me at the same time. Part 6 coming up. Hold on to your seat, kids. It's gonna be a wild fucking ride.